Let me give you background on that. I think it was Ralph Waldo Emerson, the famous American writer, who about 1870 established that, and made the statement that all technologies were extensions of our senses, both inner and external, of our body parts.
Right.
And that idea influenced a lot of artists and scientists at the turn of the century. So later, James Joyce in Finnegans Wake did a whole epic satirizing the idea that technologies were extensions of us, that were miming us. And then McLuhan went on and developed that same Joycean theme and applied it to technologies that came after Joyce, like the computer and the satellite. McLuhan's known for being an expert on TV, but that was already a given in Finnegans Wake. That was easy for him to handle. He was more concerned with the computer and the satellite as environments and how they affected consciousness.
But wait, if Joyce satirized it, he was also affirming it. He's saying, yes, technology is an extension of us.
Yeah.
And McLuhan comes along and says that maybe something's gotten out of control.
Yes, in a way. He just updated. He considered himself applying Joyce. So he updated the breakthroughs in communication laid out in Finnegans Wake. But what he realized by 1960, after the satellite environment had been established, which came after television and computer, he realized the satellite kind of completed the technological evolution, because everything moved up to television, which was an extension of the living, dynamic aspects of present consciousness, right there for people, including all sensory modalities in the TV screen, mirroring back at us and resonating with us. Now, the satellite, though, is the astral body that leaps out of the TV computer matrix and goes around the whole media matrix that has been built since the telegraph, up and embrace the planet. Now, the satellite's outside of that. So it's a metaphor of human dying, the collective human dying, and looking back at the history of communication.
What do you mean the collective human dying?
The collective human is the collective consciousness effect brought together by the emerging technologies, especially since telegraph. Because that imploded everything electrically.
But it doesn't actually, it kind of is the jumping off point for a global consciousness, the satellite.
Well, no, the global consciousness begins with the telegraph.
Because it's the first worldwide communication system.
Right. Nathaniel Hawthorne and various writers talked about it as a global nervous membrane back in the 1860s. So the people were aware of this implosion by the telegraph, and Teilhard de Chardin then made it a theological point.
But getting back to so the satellite itself
is a release from the global consciousness. It's a release. It's outside of it. Even though it's within it, it is metaphorically an astral body being formed.
But it's still an extension of who we are.
Oh, yeah, but it's an extension of our astral system.
So what do you define astral system? Because
the realms that are not in the physical world. The realms of dream or post-death states.
So the satellite mirrored our astral body.
Right. And that's, if we don't survive death, then it's interesting that what the satellite is as a metaphor for that possibility or that hope. But if we do survive death, and that gets proven, then that is a mirror of the astral body. You know what I mean? And we have to decide whether there's an astral body. But here's the main point after that. So the satellite goes up to 57. Is that from 1960 to 1990, culminating with the internet, what you have is technology no longer being an extension of our body parts and systems, but being an extension of itself. It becomes self-referential, because once you get into post-satellite, you get the instant replay. You then start to get the digital and micro technologies. We call it the chip evolution. And they lead to the internet, which is a medium that contains all previous electric media and pre-electric media. So it actually replays the stages of evolution that humans went through when they extended technology, and does it rapidly for 30 years. This creates a real problem for human communication.
Why does it create a problem? Doesn't it facilitate human communication?
No, because everything from speech, writing, to television is inside a matrix. That is basically a miming of its own self and doesn't refer to the human.